And we're back here on Falk Talk, sponsored by the Lindsay McDonald Group Lending Solutions at Security National Mortgage Company and Goodwin Chiropractic.
Chiropractic, TIC.
Well, we have Dr. Tim Goodwin here a couple times, 3-4 times a month, to give us all of our counsel on how to stay healthy, how to stay fit. One of the things that he's been doing is he's been setting up with some of his great, not just clients, but friends, professional athletes such as, I'm going to let you introduce Skyler.
My boy, Skyler Frazier, the Utah kid, guys. I love this kid. Before we get into him, again, Falk Talk to us is about not all your victories. It's about getting picked up after a defeat. I know you've been through a lot. We talked your story. I don't know too much about you. We're going to find it out today, but I've seen some of your posts, so I know you're deep. Skyler is one that really rings a bell to me, Gary, because, I see a lot of professional athletes, and I'm not mentioning names, when their game's on, they're on, and then they fall off the bandwagon, they come back and train. This kid trains. If he fights Saturday night, he's back in the gym Monday. He knows what he wants. We talked about Josh said the end in mind. I have a prediction that he's going to be the next UFC 145-pounder real soon. Skyler, I've had to pull him back, tell him to be patient. He's 23 years old. He's doing what it takes. I've seen him fight. He's got a big fight coming up November 18th that we're so psyched about. But Skyler, first tell us about that fight November 18th, and then we'll dive into you a little bit,
I'm going to be fighting November 18th. It's going to be downtown at the complex. I'm going to be the main event. I'm going to be headlining the card. It's actually my first headline for this promotion in particular. It's Steel Fist Fight Night. I have not headlined for, I don't know, maybe a year or two. So it's been a while, but it's definitely a spot where I feel like I deserve. People get overwhelmed by maybe stepping up and being the main spot on a card. Me personally, I feel like that's where I've always belonged. So it's, it's perfect for me. It's a great opportunity, and I'm very, very fortunate. So I'm excited. November 18th.
And who are you fighting?
Fighting a guy locally. His name is Jeremiah Guzman. Very tough opponent. He's a game opponent.
What does that mean?
He's a game opponent, as in like he's experienced. He's been around the game for a while. He knows the ins and outs of the fight game. He knows different styles of fighting.
Nice.
And this is for a belt, correct?
It's not for a belt. It's not for a belt. I'm trying to I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get that belt.
This is all we need is you fighting, bro. That's
absolutely.
all we need.
So let me ask you a little bit about Steel Fist. I'm not following it lately. Are they the next up and coming to UFC?
Locally, right now they're definitely the biggest fight promotion on the scene.
Bigger.
Right,
I'm
right
sorry.
now.
Like I know Throwdown. We've gone to some events. You've been involved in Throwdown in the past.
Correct.
Well,
Okay.
you look at the new the Ultimate Fighter right now. It's on TV. What they've done, I don't know if you follow it. They wanted to find Demetrius Johnson, the 125-pound guy. So they went to all the different local, really ones.
Right.
And they've got the champs out of there. So, I think this is as close as AAA fighting as they get.
Nice.
Sky, you go to those fights and you see, I always say, God, AAA fighting, you go to the local fights, the guys are gassing out. Thing with Skyler, man, he pushes the pace. I've seen a lot of fighters that I'm excited about. And, not everyone has what it takes to get to the UFC because they don't have that drive and that ambition, and he does. Now, you train out of Absolute MMA.
Absolute MMA.
Rob Hadley.
Rob Hadley's gym, yep. Right.
I've always liked that guy. It's been like 12 years since I've really shook his hand.
Oh, he's great.
We need to get him on we need to get him out here. We'll have to get Rob out there. Rob, we're coming for you, Bo.
He's brought up. Most of the significant fighters around here.
Yeah.
He's brought up a lot of them. I know that Johnny Ritchie. That's his place that he loves to train in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Steve Sharp.
Yep.
Is he still as colorful as ever? I love that guy.
It's Steve comes and goes. He's doing his family thing. I know he kind of fell off the fight train a little bit. But
his last fight though was worth falling off with.
Oh, absolutely.
That was so beautiful.
Absolutely. I actually just trained with Steve last week. He came in for sparring. He likes to pop in and see what the guys are up to and train with us. So I got to train last week with Steve and
Court McGee's over there now, right? Is that
Court trains with us now.
Does he live down in this area now? Or he was from up north. I thought.
I think he still lives up north, but he comes down and he does privates with Rob, and they've been working for the last 2 or 3 fights that he's had in the UFC, and he's doing really good. It's been great for him.
What got you into fighting? Let's hear this story. How did you wake up one morning and you said, I'm going to kick someone's ass? Or
You know, what really happened is I played football my entire life, and I wrestled all through junior high school and high school. What really happened is I played football my whole life. I thought I was going to be a big football star, and because I was really good at football, you know, I knew I was good at football. I would, you know, the first year I started, it was big to be on the A team. You know, you wanted to be on the A team, the starting squad, and I made the A team, and I kind of felt like I was always a standout player. Everybody came to me for advice. People followed what I did, and it kind of just it went from year to year, from pee-wees to bantams, and all the way up through high school. People just followed, you know, and we had a really good team. We won state one year, and I would say what really got me into fighting is that I got into high school. I played football. I did everything I could my senior year to get a scholarship to play football somewhere. That's what I wanted to do with my life, and I was the smallest 5A middle linebacker in the state, easily. I weighed
I was sitting there wondering.
Cornerback, free safety.
I know, man. I'm like, he must be fast.
I played middle linebacker. It was a position I'd played my entire life, so it was one of the positions I'd known really well, inside and outside. I'd actually played outside linebacker, inside linebacker, and a little bit of strong safety. So I knew I was a defensive player. Of course, I love to hit people. Right. You know.
Intensity.
I love.
So it must be just all timing if you don't have the weight, right?
Yeah. Well, and another thing, I was a small guy. I wasn't gifted to be a big guy like some of these guys are. They're naturally gifted. They're 210 pounds in high school, you know, and people are like, "Oh, he's big. We want him on our team," you know. I wasn't that guy necessarily, but I always led my team in tackles every single week. You know, I won the highest football award at my school, which is the Scott Beck Memorial Award, which is the highest football award you can win.
What school?
Cypress High.
All right,
Cypress High School.
Good.
I'm not familiar. What town is that?
It's in Magna. It's in
okay.
Magna. So I come from a really small town.
Were you throwing a lot during school? Like school? I'm sorry. Were you scrapping? Like
So I grew up in a pretty.
I haven't heard him say he's thrown one fist growing up at
hear
all.
About these street fighting,
Magna
Rumbler.
Yeah, that's really what it was. You know, I come from Magna. Well, they had this little, maybe some would call it a gang. It originally started as a straight edge thing, which they called themselves PAT, and it was kind of a straight edge gang. They're hardcore kids, you know, kind of like what Johnny Ritchie was. He was.
And John Sharp and Steve were kind of
exactly
straight edge a little bit.
Yeah, they were.
I don't mean to accuse. I just know that there was respect going on
absolutely.
back when I first met him, and nobody messed with them.
When so I was coming up, I wasn't in this particular group, but I had a lot of friends that were organized with them, and you know, we kind of were standout, and there was a lot of other kids in our town that didn't really like what we had going on. And we would fight a lot. I mean, it was really common. And there was actually times, and I don't like really saying it because maybe people look at it kind of funny, but we would actually look for fights. Like, we wanted to fight people.
So did I.
We wanted to fight people.
This is like talk. You can say that.
No, we
were once jackasses too.
There's no ego. There's no ego here, by the way. This is just all normal stuff.
Yeah.
No, like we absolutely.
You learn by your mistakes.
We wanted to fight people, so we would do whatever we could. We'd hang out at our local Smith's until like 12, 11 o'clock at night. There's probably like 20 of us. We'd just hang out, but we would look for people to fight. Right. We wanted to fight.
Right. As a sport, though, not like you're gonna hate them after.
No, like we just wanted to fight. Yeah. You know, like that we liked confrontation.
Ours was Burger King.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah. Well, Beto's. We had Smith's, and then Beto's was right there. You know, and we liked to fight. We'd do anything to catch a fight. You know, and like that was real. You know.
Did you ever get beat up?
Never got beat up. You know. We fought a lot.
We fighting didn't get beat up. See, if you got beat up all the time, you're like, I shouldn't chase that.
I don't know. I've been against some different odds, and I've been beat up.
Yeah. I've been pretty fortunate. Like, you know, I never really got beat up, but I mean, I've got punched before. Of course, you know that's gonna happen, but I never got beat up. But we would look for fights, man. That's what we wanted. We came from a spot where brawling and fighting was cool. Yeah. Like, people loved it. You know,
So it's not just Hillcrest, I guess.
No, we
That's
loved
just
it. It was
Polynesians.
awesome.
Okay.
It was awesome. But what really got me into fighting is, like I said, I played football. I didn't get a scholarship like I'd hoped, and you know I was kind of crushed by that. I was like, I did everything I could. I did everything I could to be a star player, and not one person sent me a letter. Not one person sent me anything. So I was a little bit maybe discouraged. You know, I was like, well, what's it take? You know, I'm like, I did everything I thought I was supposed to do, and maybe even more than that to get to where I wanted to be, you know. So I was like, all right, I'll go try out at Snow College, you know. So I traveled down to Snow College the year right after I graduated, which was 2011, and I tried out for the Snow College football team. Well, of course I wasn't going to go there and try out at a college football team for middle linebacker, where the guys at college are 250 playing middle linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't realistic, and nobody was going to be like, you're going to be our middle linebacker. It just wasn't realistic. So I traveled down to Snow, which is down to Ephraim, and I tried out. I had to try out for a position that I didn't play. I had to try out for free safety. I didn't play free safety, you know, so I have to try out against free safety, who guys have been playing free safety their whole lives, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They know that position. That's all they've ever played. So I had to try out, which is Snow College actually gets a lot of really high-end athletes. They get athletes from schools from California, from Oregon, for kids who didn't make grades but have to go to a smaller college to just get in to start.
Right.
So they get these Division I kids that are, guys that are probably could sign in the NFL that day. They get these kids down there that are already, they're playing at NFL level, at Division I level already. And they're trying out for a smaller school to play because they don't have the grades. So I go down there and I try out. You know, I'm really aggressive. I do really good in the weightlifting. You know, I did everything I could, like I always do. You know, to try and, you know, be a standout person. You know, and never get a call. Never, you know, they pretty much make the cuts, and I head home. You know, don't make the team. I'm like, all right. But I always knew in my head that if I didn't make it, I knew where I was going, and that was fighting. Absolutely, I was going to fighting. I knew that in my heart. Like, that was something I knew. If this didn't work out,
this is only 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, right?
18,
19, 20,
yeah.
5 years ago.
I graduated high school when I was 17. I was probably the youngest kid trying out on the football team.
Were you on any card at all between graduating from high school and
I was on one card. As soon as I graduated, I had my very first fight. I want to say maybe 2011. It was December. It was New Year's Eve of 2011. Johnny Ritchie actually announced my fight.
Was Big Ball Love. I renamed Johnny Ritchie today.
Was my very
in 2011? You're saying?
Yep.
Yeah. No kidding.
Were you there?
Yeah.
I think Luke took me at that time. It seems like my buddy Luke Huddleston. Do you know him?
I don't.
He was great friends with Steve Sharp. That's why I asked. And John Sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I tried out for football. It didn't work. And like I said, I'd wrestled all through junior high. I was a really successful wrestler. In junior high, you know, I would take division that was a common thing for me. Year after year after year, I was taking division, you know what I'm saying, in my weight class.
No wonder he was one of your favorites. You were saying, like, this guy in wrestling. He's incredible. Like, for a guy that didn't go to actual college for it, or he didn't go to college for it. He just wastes every single friend of ours. Like, when we try to challenge him, we look silly.
They just don't know a hip toss guy that can set him up for it. You know, it's funny. You know, it's what I like about this kid, I will call it Dr. Gary. Gary is his intensity, as you can see it. You know what I mean? He knows where he wants to go. He listens to his coaches, you know. He listens to me because, you know, you had a couple defeats just like you did in life. You know, it wasn't good enough. That must have came up for you playing football, everything you wanted. You get in. You know, one of your fights, bro, you were kicking the living shit out of someone. You split his eye open so bad. How many stitches? He had like 60 stitches. They should have stopped that fight.
Oh, it should have been stopped.
And he got caught in a rear naked choke out of nowhere, bro, and got caught. Absolutely. You know, right with almost at the end of that first period. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was what. But he didn't let it stop it again. You know, it's not like what Josh said. You got to learn from the losses and keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
You know, he was training the next day. Then there was a long spell there for like 12 months that he hadn't gotten a fight, and he was coming in my office hanging his head a little because he's like I call him a canine. He's like that dog that needs to go chase someone. You know what I mean? And so it's good to see he won his last fight. just destroyed the last guy. You know, that wasn't even. I think your training partners would have been better fighting that guy. And so when I heard that he had this going on, but the thing with Skyler is just, you know, seeing him and getting to know him a little bit better. His intensity is that have the end in mind, and that's what I keep reminding him. You know what I mean? And I really know that here in the near future, 25, I keep telling him, bro, you're a perfect age. Step back. You don't want to be there yet. You know, let it build. Let the purses get a little bit bigger. That's what I keep telling him all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, what's one of your best fights you can remember? I mean, the showdown fight was an amazing fight. You were an underdog in that fight. You're going up against a local kid.
Yeah, you know, my very first professional fight was my showdown fight. Easily, hands down, was the greatest fight I've had in my career. And it wasn't necessarily because the fight had so much riding on it, because it was my first fight, but a lot of it was the emotions I built up for myself, you know. I'll take you back a little bit. So I got into the fight game, you know, I fought, and I actually moved down to Richfield and started training out of a gym that I didn't have to pay money to train. You know, his name's Anthony Monson. He let me go there and train for free at his gym, and at the time I just got out of high school, trained for free to do what I want. Of course I'm going, you know. So I moved down there with my buddy's dad, who owned the gym. I started training out of there, and a guy that I was training with out of there got a call from Showdown to take a fight on short notice, and he asked me to corner him in Showdown. So I'm like, well, I didn't really know what Showdown was at the time. I knew it was a bigger promotion in Utah, but I didn't really know what it was. So I came down here with him to corner him, and as soon as we walked in, UVU, and because that's where they host Showdown at, and I got a really good taste of what it was, and it was very eye-opening for me. I seen all the fighters that were there, and kind of what it brought, you know, what it brought to fighting.
Was Josh on that card?
I don't know if Josh.
Jaeger.
I'm not.
Yeah.
He might have been. He might have been.
I think he may have been the main event.
Yeah,
What are you talking? 2010, 2011?
2011.
Yeah.
Yep, around that time.
Card.
Yep, exactly. So I came down and I cornered him, and like, I probably only had 3 amateur fights at that time, and right away, that's where I put myself. I said, this is where I gotta get. I gotta get to this spot right here. Like, if I can get here, I can get anywhere. I know I can, because I felt like that promotion was a standout promotion, and guys in that promotion, they were making it places. UFC, World Series of Fighting, Bellator, and I knew if I could get there, I could be somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my focus all changed. You know, I got there, I watched. He lost his fight, but it was way bigger than that for me. You know, like just cornering him.
Moments in life, the sparks, right?
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was like a spark, and I was like, okay, you know, I went home, I got right to training, you know, and I kept winning fights, you know, and eventually, you know, I trained for a year down there, and it was just hard. I was away from my family, my friends. I'm only 18 at this time, you know, and that's kind of hard to do. You know, try to be isolated. I was really focused. You know, I wanted to be a fighter, and I wanted to be.
Does
successful.
that mean like 8 hours a day, 10 hours?
Oh,
what does that mean?
You know what I did? I worked part time as a dishwasher. I made $7 an hour washing dishes. I didn't care though. You know, I was doing what I wanted to do. I would get off work and I would go work out. I'd go run 5 miles, and I would train at night, and I would do it all again the next day. You know, I washed dishes. It wasn't a big deal. You know, people are like, yeah, $7. All I had to do was buy food, good, healthy food.
You have no idea how exciting that life sounds like to me.
You know,
Shrek 5. Go watch it. Go back to the swamp.
No, it was great, but, you know,
Right.
I finally moved back down to the valley, and Anthony Monson was like, there's one place I'll only allow you to train. I didn't know Rob at the time. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to take his recommendation. I've been training with this guy, you know, and he goes, you're going to go to my good friend Rob Hadley, and you're going to train out of his gym, or I won't allow you to fight anymore.
That was a question. He's good. We don't have to interview him. We can just put it on.
And
How did you get to Absolute? So go ahead. There you go.
Yeah, so
found Rob Hadley.
You know, he said, you have to go to Rob Hadley. He's the only place I'll allow you to go. He's like, I feel like you're in a spot in your career you can be really successful. You have to go to a gym where you can get better and evolve.
Right.
I walked into the gym.
When was that?
I walked into Rob Hadley's gym, Absolute MMA, probably 2012. I've been there since then, and it's.
I'm gonna make Skyler get on a timeline and get all his dates all together. He's like you and me. He's whoa, you know.
Yeah,
go ahead. So 2010.
I walked in his doors, you know, and I talked to Pedro Sierra, which is another coach there, which great guy.
Well known.
Absolutely, he's great. Walked in there, I filled out my waiver, and I came from a wrestling background, so I hopped right in. I started training that day, the day I walked in, and I trained with my good buddy Denver. I walked in there, and I didn't know Denver at the time. Denver was a really high level blue belt, and Pedro likes the kind
That's
of
jiu-jitsu.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hopped in there, started rolling jiu-jitsu. I knew a little bit of jiu-jitsu at the time, but like I said, came from a wrestling background. Started rolling with him, and I was somewhat of a spaz because I felt like I had to prove something. I walked into a gym that I didn't know anybody at. I kind of felt like I had a little bit to prove of myself. And then of course Pedro was watching me. So I'm like, maybe this guy wants to know what I'm about. I don't know. So I rolled with Denver, and I did really good, and I think I maybe surprised him a little bit. I was like, okay, this kid's kind of spazzy, because I was going hard, I didn't go in there and just go soft, and he was like, okay, and he was like, okay, calm down a little bit, and we'll and ever since then, I kept going back, I evolved, and I kind of slowed down, like, I was a wrestler, I was go, you never want to be on your back, I slowed down, I learned what jiu-jitsu was all about, because, Absolute MMA they're known for their jiu-jitsu, Rob Hadley, and slowed it down. But anyways, when I started training at Absolute, that's kind of how I got into Showdown, my very first fight. I had been training at Absolute for probably a year. I had 3 or 4 fights under Rob Hadley, Pedro Sierra, as my coaches, and we did great. We were killing people, it was great. I evolved so fast at that gym. I was amazed.
The one at 7800?
Yeah, it's at 7800. It's off of 7800 and
1300 West?
1300 West, right there, yep.
Nice. But, he's been at the same gym for 15 years, I believe.
Oh, yeah, it's
solid.
A great success.
Well, what kind of mixed martial arts would you call yourself now? Are you a wrestler, you're a boxer, you're a grappler, what are you? What do you go by?
I don't necessarily like to, I wouldn't classify myself as anything. I'm just a fighter,
Yeah.
like to be a good fighter, you have to be everything.
Yeah.
You can't just be a jiu-jitsu fighter.
Right.
That's not the days that we're in anymore. UFC is so evolved.
I don't know. If I was a fighter, I'd learn a good 50-50, and I'd just be putting an ankle lock in everything.
I never had an opportunity to train with Rob. I've trained a little bit with Mike. I've trained just recently, like 4 or 5 days with Jeremy Horn. I really respect here locally. We have some of the best jiu-jitsu artists. I don't know how we got them all, but it's really incredible what we're able to learn from.
Well, yeah, you look at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu that's here, and people like Rob Hanley and these other people stand the test of time,
Yeah. So, I was going to point out, Rob, for the last 10, 15 years, he's been known as one of the top jiu-jitsu specialists.
Well, he comes from, our jiu-jitsu comes from Brazil. We train under Grandmaster Flavio, so it's Flavio Bearing Jiu-Jitsu. Grandmaster Flavio is actually under the original Gracies, and that's where we get our jiu-jitsu from. And then he branched off and made his own, Grandmaster Flavio, so it's Flavio Bearing Jiu-Jitsu. Mm-hmm. And then Rob is associated with Grandmaster, and he goes to Brazil and trains yearly with Grandmaster Flavio. They touch up and all the stuff, all the new stuff, because jiu-jitsu evolves,
Right.
There's
That's
new
awesome.
things,
What's
so
your
up.
jiu-jitsu belt ranking now?
I'm blue belt.
Blue belt. And
Blue
how
belt.
does that? What is so people that don't know? How does that work?
I'm a
Your
third
first-
degree,
so
so it
first-
goes by stripes on your
Okay.
blue belt.
So what's the first belt you can get in jiu-jitsu?
White. So white. You start out as a white.
And then you get a couple
Blue.
stripes.
Yeah.
Okay. How
So
many stripes?
usually you rank up by your stripes on your belt. So you start out as a white belt,
Okay.
and then some jiu-jitsu schools do it differently. They do it by mat time. Like, okay, you've logged 20 hours on the mat. Here's your stripe. I really respect the way Rob does it, because that's not really how it is. You evolve by what you show. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't come in and say, "Oh, I've done 20 hours. Give me a stripe." No, that's not how it works. You come.
Works that way. Little 6-year-old got a black belt.
And the way Rob does it, he goes, "Okay, show me this, do this," and he really evaluates everybody in the gym. He watches people roll. That's where he knows. He gets a really good sense of where you're at in your jiu-jitsu game. Mm-hmm. Where you've evolved, where you've moved, what you're working on, the things that you are doing better, the things that you're not doing, and that's kind of how Rob promotes you, which is great, because when I get promoted, it's, you know, like, it means more to me because it's him evaluating me and saying, okay, I can see you're getting better, you know, instead of, okay, you reached your 30 hours, here's a stripe, you know. So it means a lot more to me.
Yeah, because I've heard with jiu-jitsu that it takes a long time to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
It's one of the martial arts that takes the longest to rank in.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, it's black. That's why it's so phenomenal and like a pleasure to roll with black belts, because when you see a black belt, you know they've put in so much time to be a black belt, and it's, you know, you really really respect that. Like when I get a roll with my coaches, it's so humbling. Not only because they're great, but I know the time and the dedication they've put in to be where they're at. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Yeah, and it's
And none of them are in
It's
there
great.
trying to make a grundle money at all. Like,
Absolutely
No,
no.
they're doing
no.
what they love. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, they love it. You know, they do it because they love it.
Yeah.
You know.
don't we all right now here on Falk Talk?
Well, we're
do
getting
what
paid
we
big
love.
bucks to be here. 'Cause if I was getting paid the big bucks, I would not be here. You know. No, it goes back to what I think what we're doing here, Gary. It's not just about money. Success is not determined by the amount of money you have in your bank. Success is determined if you're getting up every morning and feeling inspired and doing the things you love to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
This guy is going to make a lot of money in the near future, bro. You mark my words. I've been saying it now for 2 years. After this, he's determined. I believe the right things are happening at the right time. I tell you again, Skyler, keep being patient, keep training, keep your head on, have the end in mind, man, because I'm telling you, you're going to win a big belt really soon, you know?
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who wants to get into fighting and the ups and downs, and I mean, what are some of the obstacles that stops people from continue doing what you're doing, you know?
If you wanted to get into fighting, I would suggest get into a good gym. Get into a gym where there's quality. Like they always say, you pay for what you get, and that is real when it comes to martial arts. Get into a gym where someone is gonna care for you, and look out for you, because there's a lot of promotions out there and sketchy people who will try to throw you into
The wolf pack.
and you're gonna get beat up, you know. So my recommendation: get into a good gym. Get into a gym where people are gonna care for you, that want you to get better. They want to see you succeed, and train for a year before you take your first fight. You know, be consistent, learn, evolve, and another thing is to work on your mental game. You know, fighting's not all about being physical or a great athlete, but it's about working your mental health. You know, you have to be in the right spot mentally to be in the right spot physically. You
And
know.
chemically.
Yeah,
We get so
absolutely.
much freaking good advice here.
Yeah, well, it's just awesome, you know. I mean, we never know what's going to come out of Falk Talk when we're here, but, you know, I really wanted, hey, November 18th, it's going to be a great show, you know. There's a lot of fights that night. They always are really cool at the
Complex?
Yeah, at
complex.
the complex.
Nice.
Yes.
There'll be a lot of people getting knocked out. My money's on you, Skyler, you know, to do what you got to do, you know, and it's exciting to get to know you a little bit more, man, and I'm just so proud to be your friend, your chiropractor. You know, you're one of the most polite, meanest guys that I know, and I just think you should stay the point. You know, again, I think we look back at his life. You know, I heard he had defeat. You know, he keeps his head down, that determination and commitment, man. That's the word I heard you say too. Is you've got to stay committed to this. You got to stay. I mean, if it was easy, you wouldn't be doing it, man. You'd be off doing something else. You know.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. You know, we don't really know what we're about until we've faced hardship and until we've actually looked maybe the hardest thing in the face and say, you know, like I can get through this. I can find my way around this. You know, and it's all about testing yourself, seeing where you really stand, and you know, I think it gives you a really firm grip on who you are when you come past those things that are so hard to maybe get by, or you know, you kind of know who you are. And I think maybe that's what I feel like's humbled me, because I've overcame a lot of really hard things in my life. You know, my buddy passed away in high school. He committed suicide, and that was probably one of the hardest things for me to go through at a young age. You know, and I didn't really know what to do. I didn't really know who to talk to. I didn't know the questions to ask. But you know, I found a way through challenging myself and to just like staying positive, you know, and to just get through those things, you know, day by day, you know, just kind of work. But I took that, maybe the negativity from it, and just put it into positivity. What would he want me to do? What should I do?
how should I take that, put it into my life, and show people through what I'm doing that this is the way to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Learning by other people's examples is,
Yeah.
man, it's so much less challenging, right?
I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
We don't really have to have personal wisdom. We can actually learn from others, it seems
Absolutely.
like.
Yeah, I know it can.
You know, I really appreciate you coming on Falk Talk.
Yeah, man.
Learning more about you has helped my life. Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to come on again. You know, if
We're
you
gonna
guys
come
have-
on
if you
after
guys-
this victory, man.
If you guys have any more time,
We're gonna
you
come
know,
back.
I'd love to come
We'll
back.
either be talking about a
Nice.
victory or how you're gonna deal with your defeat. You know, that's the part of getting in that ring. Don't know if you're gonna
Yeah.
win though, but hey, man.
So
thanks
the
for
Utah
coming.
Kid, is that
The Utah Kid,
nice? Okay.
Skyler Frazier.
Look for the Utah Kid, November 18th. He's fighting down at the complex. He's probably going to have a really big crowd. If you're looking for tickets, go to his Facebook at.
Skyler Frazier.
Skyler Frazier.
All right. I wasn't sure if it was the Utah Kid or not.
That's Skyler
I
Frazier.
actually do have a fan page, Skyler the Utah Kid Frazier. You can go to my personal account, which is Skyler Frazier. You can message me. I have tickets for sale. You could contact me, and I can get you some tickets if you'd like to come out and support. It'd be greatly appreciated.
Nice.
Awesome.
And I just want to put another spot out for Absolute MMA over off of 7800 South and just about
Absolutely.
13th West. Rob will take care of you over there. Here on Falk Talk, we're a local group of people that just want to get our message out. And one of the messages we want to get out is exercising so that you can pretty much stay focused in life.
Yep.
Exercise to create your flow in life. Keep your momentum going.
Yep.
Tim, you've been a real help for all of us here on
Don't
Falk
give
Talk.
up.
And take care.
Awesome. Namaste.
Oh.